Welcome back. I am your host, Susanna May O'Hagan, and today we are going to talk about the influencer accusing Brandy Melville of copying her design after spotting shirts with her logo. I'm speechless. Now, I am recording this for my podcast, but there's also a video version on my YouTube. Let's get to it and do it. Okay. Brandy Melville has since removed the product. Okay. A fashion influencer accused Brandy Melville, a multi-dimensional fashion chain, of ripping off her logo and design on her recent released t-shirt. Emma, owner of Kissing Cowboys, took to Instagram to share that Brandy Melville seemingly plastered her small business logo on a Kissing Cowboys top, retailing for $23. They weren't even trying to be secretive about it, DeMarco stated in a video shared Tuesday. It's literally called the Kissing Cowboys tank top. Like my brand is Kissing Cowboys. This is a logo. She continued, I'm speechless. In addition to including the small business logo, with DeMarco revealed her cousin had drawn by hand. The retail giant seemingly ripped off the shirt design from a poster DeMarco used to celebrate the brand's first year in business. Shameless, DeMarco said. I'm literally livid because the shirt is ugly. My brand is on something that's ugly and being literally mass-produced. By Wednesday afternoon, the shirt had been removed from Brandy Melville's website with an error message stating the product was no longer available. So, there are other things. Brandy Melville documentary details. If you've seen one of Brandy Melville, you've seen them all. Baby tees and miniskirts, Vogue references to California, references, and most recently a one-size-fits-most. The brand grew popular in America in the 2010s by targeting mostly high school girls small enough to fit into their tiny size range, and by using reports of young girls' social media content wearing the clothes to spread the company's influence online. By the mid-2010s, the strategy had paid off, with the clothes worn by celebrity Kaya Gabert and Kendall Jenner. Behind the scenes, reporting shows that Brandy Melville has been plagued with accusations of racism and the tango for a decade. I may or may not have worked at a store whose name rhymes with Mandy Smillville for 3 months in 2013 as a college freshman, and I may or may not have been told I was fired for looking depressed. Now one of the stories is being told and contacted to the border question of overcompensation in fashion's modern colonial practices in places like Ghana, with the release of a new documentary, Brady Hillville and the Cult of Fast Fashion, released April 8th on Max. That's why I didn't see it. I was like, where did this come out? Because I've never heard of it. The first thing that was really surprising making the film was getting people to speak up. Director Eva tells Teen Vogue, everyone was very young when they worked there, and now they're young women embarking on careers in their 20s, and a lot of them were really scared. Reporting for Business Insider, Kate Taylor, who is featured in the documentary, details cultures of women, white girls, and promoting eating disorders via their unrealistic beauty standards. Warner described the Brandy business model, with their youngest target audience as an arm of young girls doing free advertising for these big multi-million billion dollar industries, usually owned and run by white middle-aged men who are older. And there's this army of young girls unwitting make advertising for them thinking it's cool. The film traces the issue of fast fashion via Brandy from the young girls hired in their U.S. story and the worker of color pushed to work backstories to the fast fashion products in Italy, to Ghana's largest secondhand market. There are 7.5 million pounds of tossed away clothes arriving weekly from the States. In ACCRA, the clothes often end up in landfills or in the ocean at the same port. No words, just nah. The documentary notes from where in Africans from the U.S. during the really, this is getting pretty bad. As Chloe operated managers for the ROR Foundation says early in the documentary, from the beginning of the supply chain to the end, we're all being exploited by the same system. The only way to OPT out, Bernie argues, it is to stop bullying. Brandy Melville stores are so on HBO documentary in which Sherman presents a fast fashion nightmare dressed to a teenage daydream. They are exploiting young girls. When she spots one of the painted wooden signs outside a Brandy Melville store, filmmaker Eva stops her tracks. Since I started doing the documentary, I always sneak in and check out how many people are in there and what they're selling, she tells Vanity Fair. What she says, is horrifying. I think cult. It is a word that is bandied around a lot, and we were very careful when we decided to use it. Honor, Eva is referring to the name of her last documentary, Brandy, of the Cult of Fast Fashion, which debuted on HBO on April 9th. In it, the Oscar winner unspools the dark inner workings of a fast fashion company that targets teens and has been worn by the likes of Kylie Jenner, according to the doc. Soft baby tees, embezzled with sayings like stressed, depressed, but well dressed, is a shady operation that both preys upon and profits off of female industries. The word, I have no idea how to say that. I can't say some of these words on YouTube or on my podcast, are tossed out with the first 3 minutes of the film regarding certain extensive her bridging of dark deeds to be revealed. Brandy Melville did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Most companies may do one bad thing, says Eva. With Brandy Melville, something bad happens, and then something worse happens, and it just keeps going. By the end, your jaw is on the floor. An Australian who drives an electric car and has adopted a vegetarian diet was introduced to Brandy Melville by Oscar-nominated producer Jonathan and Oscar producer Simon. As the film shows, the store presents itself as less of a label than a lifestyle. Brandy Melville hires beautiful girls who seem popular, typically thin, white, and under the age of 18, who are often recruited while shopping in the store, the doc claims. Candidates are asked to submit full body photos and offer up their social media handles in the place of any skill-based qualifications, said one former employee that Eva interviewed. Staff members of color are hired, but are often related to the working in stock rooms. Jesus is just creepy and weird. Ex-employees told the filmmaker those who work at a store's entrance, all of whom must fit the one-size-fits-most clothes the company carries, and are required to take daily store style photos that are sent to Brandy Melville, founder, former worker, and the doc explains employees could be reportedly were hired and fired based on such images. They're like 16-year-old girls. You can find like 700 different reasons to fire them. One anonymous company employee says in the doc, like it's too easy, it wasn't even fair. All of this information was unearthed before O began working on her film through lawsuits brought against the company, reporting by Kate Taylor, an investigator journalist at Business Insider. But the revelation hasn't made much of a dent in Brandy Melville's revenue. There has been an expose on this company. A lot of young girls know that the company's not great, but still shop there. O explains, and if that really disturbing, there comes a point in your life where you have to decide what kind of person I want to be. When a brand's been exposed as being really bad and you can get clothes elsewhere, the fact that people are so locked into this brand is really surprising. O set out to make a film that would contextualize the company's ethical issues within a larger environmental landscape. Her cameras traveled to the far reaches of Porto, Italy, where Brandy Melville's clothes is produced in crowded factories, and Ghana, which has been a dumping ground for heaps of unwanted garments. In the documentary, former staff members said the higher-ups would buy the non-Brandy shirts off their backs so they could replicate and mass-produce their design. A practice that was held to copy infringement suits against the brand. The level of exploitation against women is tragedy, O says, especially when it's further enabled by social media platforms like Instagram, Tumblr, and TikTok. You're being exploited by companies and doing their work when you make videos promoting them. Get paid, she explains. There are these armies of young girls advertising for these evil companies who are just laughing all the way back to the bank. Atop of the chain of Common and Stephanie, CEO and son of company founder, unlike his brand, the young Manderson doesn't have much of a digital footprint. He has no online presence at all, O tells VF. I mean, there are literally 3 photos of this man online, and they're all in our film, and all pretty terrible. This man does not want to be known. He's very comfortable, though, hanging out with young girls in his store. Okay, there was more about this story, but I don't know if I want to go there. I think I want to stop, because if I read any more about this clothing company, I might lose it. Because I'm not really sure how to feel. This is just messed up. My brain's like, how? Okay. Well, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day, and bye for now.